Purchase carefully so your property doesn't cost you a significant amount. Okay, so there's a few steps here. Okay, you're not there, you're not present, or you can't attend to the property because it's interstate or it's quite a fair distance from where you live. First things first, you got to find someone on the ground that can inspect the property on your behalf. Now, I'm not talking about a real estate agent that's selling the property. I'm talking about someone else independent. Okay, it can be a property manager, it can be a pest and building inspector, it can be someone that's an independent, just a property inspector, where they just go out there as a job and they can inspect property on your behalf as well. And so what you do is get them to do a report, do a video walkthrough, have a look at the property, see if it needs anything. 9 times out of 10, sometimes the property manager might be the best person because, of course, you got to find a tenant for that property. They'll go in there and inspect it, and they'll give you a bit of a breakdown of what they think it needs to get up to scratch, or what's on the naked eye, what they see is something wrong with the property. As well, it's always good to get maybe a pest and building inspector or someone else before you actually do a report, a pest and building report, to go out there and actually have a look at the property structurally and physically also. Okay, now you go there to secure the property because it's 9 times out of 10, if you're buying in a really good market, you can't get a pest and building person to inspect prior to signing the contract. The property's going to be gone in a week or two. So you get that done. You've got someone to inspect the property and secure it. Once again, you put a subject to pest and building, making sure you got the right clauses in there also, so you can negotiate on the property depending on what state, of course, and every state's got different laws in regarding pest and building clauses. As well, you want to probably put a subject to plumbing and electrical inspection also. Get a plumber and electrical inspector out there at the same time as while you're doing the pest and building reports, and see what's wrong with the property. Make sure there's nothing wrong there. Now, if you're not sure about what's on those reports, and if you can't get it, you don't have the knowledge and understanding of those reports, go back to the inspector and ask them, get a bit of clarity about it. Speak to someone that you may know that's well qualified in that industry. Okay, if you've got a family friend that's a plumber, or a cousin that's an electrician, whatever it may be, just speak to them and get a bit of clarity as well. Okay, and then you're going to make sure you're going to try and understand what this property is going to cost you if the vendor doesn't want to agree to fix these things. So if you've got time, try and get someone to go out there straight away and give you a quote on the pest and building defects. In regards to the plumbing and electrical inspection, when you've got them booked in, they should give you a list of repairs of what it takes to cost, what it will cost, to repair the items that are defected on the property. So you've got that, you've got the plumbing and electrical already sorted. There might be some extra items on the pest and building report, so you might have to get another contractor out there. Maybe there's some tiles that are broken on the roof. Maybe there's some other work around the house that needs to be done too, and you might have to get someone else back out there to inspect it. So try and get them out to inspect it before the clause expires. Okay, if you can't and you're running on short time frames, ask for an extension on the pest and building. You can do this. Okay, ask for an extension. If they don't grant you an extension, okay, then you're going to have to make a calculated decision. Get your quotes that you already have, and then kind of get a bit of an estimate. Maybe call up some contractors that you haven't got quotes for. Maybe something's wrong with the roof, like I said, missing tiles or guttering or whatever it may be. Send them the report, show them, say, listen, I just need to make a kind of a cost analysis to try and get a price reduction, or just so I know what this is going to cost me. Do you have a rough idea? I know you can't give me the exact estimate, but just a rough estimate so I can go back with something. They might give you something, they might say, listen, it might cost you $2,000, whatever it may be. Going back to the vendor, okay, for your solicitors and conveyances, what you want to do is you can either there's 3 options. You walk away from the property. You're like, nah, too much work, I'm walking away. Number 2, you negotiate on a price and you get a price reduction on the property. Okay. Number 3, I'm losing my mind here with numbers, I can't even count today. Number 3, you get the vendor to fix the items. Okay. You get the vendor to fix the items, okay, and you don't ask for a price reduction. And then number 4, what you want to be asking is a price reduction, or you could ask for a price reduction and some items for them to fix. Now, I normally like to go back and say, can you fix these items? Okay, least resistance, can you fix these items? If they say no, we don't want to fix the items, we don't have time. Next step is, okay, will you do a price reduction on the property? They might say yes. Okay, now do the price reduction, do what you have to do, make sure you put a quote there. Okay, so that's how you check these things. Now, next step after that, they might have done these things, they might have sent you the quotes, they might have said, we've agreed to fix these. What happens is, don't just take their word, you come closer to settlement. Okay, you've gone unconditional, you come closer to settlement, guess what? You haven't done a pre-inspection. A lot of people will settle and then all of a sudden they didn't do the works. Okay, it's your duty to make sure you go back there and actually have a look at the works. So next step you do after that, before you settle, a week before you settle, prior to settlement, do a pre-inspection settlement, get your property manager, go through the property, check the items. Now, if you cannot see any of the items that have been replaced or repaired, or there's no evidence, of course, take photos, send them back through the conveyances and say what's going on here. As well, if they're doing works where it's in a roof or something like that where the property manager can't get to, make sure there is evidence of these works getting replaced. Not just receipts, you want photos, okay? Receipts doesn't mean anything. Get photos. Photos of those tight to get places, okay, and making sure your property manager can inspect some of these things. Now, keep in mind, sometimes the property manager might not be the best person to, go out there and inspect these items, okay, because of course their job is property management, not, they're not a pest and building or a plumber or electrician or etc. So you might have to get the pest and building inspector to go back out there to just rectify some of these items, or another contractor that or who's done the report for you, to go out there and just say, hey, can you just go check these items? You might have to pay an extra $100 or $200 for an inspection, but it's a good peace of mind as well. So this is how you do it. That's probably doesn't cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars, or thousands of dollars, I should say. And doing your checks, of course. But prior to this as well, there's making sure the property, you've done your checks on your as well, your insurance policies. Okay, a lot of people go there and they start buying property. The region might be cycloned, rating, or it might have so high risk for certain natural disasters. Make sure you do your checks on your insurance. Next thing you know, you've bought a property, it's $5,000 a year, and you're like, oh my god, the insurance is ginormous. Okay, so do your checks on your insurance, do your checks on your zonings, okay? If you're in a bad zone, water flood zone, of course, or bushfire zone, insurance premium is going to be high as well because of that reason. Not just that, of course, your sometimes your rates are a lot higher also, so just keep that in mind, okay? So yeah, I'll leave that with you. That's how you kind of look at a property to make sure that it's not going to cost you a significant amount of money as well by doing your checks. Okay, so hopefully that helps. Hopefully that gives you a bit of clarity. There's a lot of value in this content, I do believe. A lot of things that people miss. Okay, so use this process that I just listed step by step, especially with the pest and building side of things. You'll be surprised how many people do not check the works that are being granted. Now, as well, I want to leave you with one last thing. Appliances. You can put a clause in there making sure the appliances are all in working order. Make sure your property manager, before you settle, checks all the appliances. You'll be surprised. An air conditioner won't be working. A fan might not be working. Globes might be blown. Make sure they're all in working order, and you put that clause in if you can. That will secure and make you sure that you've got everything working on the property as well. So thank you once again, and we'll see you next week.